Hello and welcome to my talk. Please come in and sit, take a seat. Trick out your parameters, transformations, completions, and validations. A little bit. Oh, thanks for the sponsors. Sorry. Without them, this wouldn't be possible. So a huge thanks. Go visit them downstairs. Great job. A little bit about me. I need to slow down. I'm a cloud and data center consultant working at Atea in Sweden. I'm from this is my hometown, born and raised, lived most of my life. Right now I just live about 20 minutes outside. I come from an operations background, so I do a lot of data center, virtualization, cloud. Basically, I glue stuff together with PowerShell most of the days, so it's a lot of fun. You might have seen me on GitHub or PowerShell Discord with my handle tracked. Let's see. I'm interested in PowerShell, obviously, but I like doing weird stuff with it. So yeah, I've played around with home automation using PowerShell as well, doing nice stuff in the terminal. Nice stuff sounds a little special, but very VT heavy. If you know ANSI escape codes and Spectre stuff, I've helped out a little bit with Sean there. I think it's quite fun when you can draw in the terminal. It's I have another talk regarding that on Thursday if you're more interested. But yeah, let's get started with today's discussion. Does anyone have any experience using validations, like parameter binding validations? Yeah. What about argument completers? Yeah. And transformations? Yeah. Okay. That's what I would have guessed, actually. It's really rare to see it, but it's not super complicated. So hopefully when we go through it, everyone will get a little bit clearer. Everyone knows the standard validation parameters. You have validate set, range, etc. You can set them, and one second, a little bit nervous. You see, they'll allow you to validate parameter input. So you can say what it needs to be higher than 5, or the length of the string needs to be 10 or longer, and etc. And you can have a script block that will evaluate true, sort of like where object inline. This allows you to do parameter validation before the function runs, so you can have like a little bit simpler function. You don't need to validate as much in the code, and that makes the function a little bit easier to manage and see, because you know what is running is what is supposed to run. Argument completers. That's when you type in and you get like argument completers tab expansion. So it allows you to give hints to the user what you're expecting, the kind of input. So yeah, that's pretty much what it is. You can do some cool stuff with it, highlight and add colors and stuff like that. We'll show some of that too. But yeah. Oh yeah, you can actually use argument completers for binary files like .exe, like ping and whatever binary file, and PowerShell will autocomplete for you. And we'll have an example of that as well. Transformation. This one is the cool one, because this allows you to take whatever input object and transform it to anything. And the cool part is that it runs before the parameter validation and the casting to the variable. So you could basically take a string input and output the datetime object. And if you give it a datetime object, it's just going to pass right through. You don't need to transform it. So that's really powerful, because you can make some really nice UI functions. So if you have a function that you want to have a strongly typed parameter, but that type in .NET is maybe not the easiest to work with. You need to do a bunch of parameters, or you need to give it a fairly complex object, and you can use a transformation to do that on the fly if you know how to figure it out, so to speak. So we could do color objects. We do that in the Spectre console. So we can just do a string for the color name, and then we convert that to the color type. So yeah, that's a lot easier. And then you know when the function runs, that is an object type of a color. So you don't need to do any validation on that after that. So yeah, that's pretty much my slides. I'm mostly demos today. So let's go look at that. Oh, there. Oh. There. Just a brief example of the built-in validations. Everyone knows validate set. What they may not have seen is that you can actually provide a second parameter with an error message. So you can provide a little bit of feedback to the user, so they know what are the valid options. So if we do like this, and then so everyone can see, sorry. Yeah? Okay, let's see, terminal theme. It's supposed to be light theme. I'm not sure why it didn't change the terminal. I don't think I can change that easily. Well, it is in ISE mode. Theme. It doesn't change the terminal, actually. I didn't notice that. Sorry. Is there anything that changes the... It's all black all the time. Is there any... Is it okay? Yeah, sorry. Yeah. Let's see here. We just need... So we can see here... There. You can see, did you mean Alice, Bob, and Charlie? So this allows you to provide a nicer error message, which is, yeah, it's really nice. A lot better than the normal one, where it just says this is not allowed. A few of them have this, the valid pattern, and the validated scripts. This is not all of the valid. I just wanted to show a few of them. One thing to note about validation, they do not disappear just because you exit the param block. They live through the function invocation. So if we say like this, I'm just reassigning the name to Steve, and then I'm gonna run that. Oh. So if we don't, so Alice is a valid name. I'm getting that output there, but when I assign it to Steve here, it's not allowed anymore. So you can get some unexpected errors from validations, especially if you rework with the variable in the function. An easy way to do that is to get away from that is just say new name equal name, and then just work with new name, because that will just be a shallow copy that will not retain the attributes of the validation. So new name can be Steve. Yeah, now I'm not outputting it, but yeah, that's the way to go around, because especially if you use validations in a module, for example, in a function that maybe not the user called, and they're sending in something like that, it's going to be hard to decipher what went wrong somewhere. if they're just sending it. So yeah, a little bit careful with validations because they can cause weird issues, but they are useful. But these are just the built-in ones. You're also able to create your own custom validations, and this is pretty cool. So this is an I-validate set values generator. That's a long word. Which basically means you inherit from this class, and you have a simple class here where it's just one method, get valid values, and you need to return a string array with all the allowed values. This is just a script block, so however you can retrieve the list is possible. So you can get file names, you can get from an API, resource groups or VMs or whatever. Those will be, you can populate this here. And that's going to be like a dynamic validate set. And you use it the same way. So here in the validate set, you just use the shapes class that I had up there. And I add an error message where this is not an approved shape. Try one of the following. See if we can find an unapproved shape. Let's see here. Oh, I need to do one thing because I restarted. I have a small helper function. Oh wait, that's not gonna what happened here. Oh, stop. Let's just do this. Profile there. And we go to there. I have a small helper function. I can show it later. It's just calling the completion API function basically to show the results from a tab completion for me. So it's gonna be the same as this. It's just more friendly to be able to show it on display in the screen. But yeah, so this will give me a validation, and it will give me autocomplete. And if I do this, it's going to say cannot validate the parameter because that is not valid. This is very useful for when you want to do dynamic. So load based on context, like whatever resource group or whatever based on your environment you have, you can load it here. As long as you can return it from a script block. There is one thing I would say that you should probably not do something super expensive, like performance-wise or time-wise, because this will run for each invocation. It's going to validate against this, so the script block will run. I'll have a short demo of that here. So this is pretty exactly the same I-validate set values generator, except I'm doing a little bit differently. I have a static property called sounds. This is a built-in sounds class. It's going to validate all the sounds, and the default constructor. Does everyone know what that is? Yeah, it's basically, this means that it will run the first when the class is instantiated. So it's only going to run once when the class is loaded. So in that, I'm caching all the media files here. And then I added a sleep too, for this is a slow API, slow disks. I'm saving all the files I found in the property sounds that I found, that I have earlier up here, the static property. And after that, I implement the get valid values method that will return a string array. So this should be like if you use an API to call to provide autocomplete. So let's see what this will do here. So we haven't run it actually yet. So if we do the first time, I think it's going to be slow. Yeah. That was a 2-second sleep there. So if we do it again, it's facing fast. The same if we try something else. And this handles all the escaping of quotes and everything for you, as long as you pass it to this class here. And it works there fast. So yeah, if you have something that takes a little bit of time, I would try and look into caching the validation, because otherwise it's because this will run and validate on each input. So yeah, that's my recommendation for doing the validations. Okay, I need to pick up time, I think. Pick up speed. The validate argument attributes. This is pretty much like the validate script with a little bit more customized. You're able to, yeah, it's pretty much exactly the same as validate script, but you're able to do a little bit nicer error message, and you can get a little bit cleaner parameter block. So I call this validate is online, and what it basically does is just test net connection, and it pings once. So a super simple way. And this doesn't need to return true or false. It just needs to throw if it's invalid. So this is because this is a voided method here. So there's no expectation that it should return true or false or anything like that. Just a valid method. Yeah. So this is the benefit with this over validate script, I would say, is that it will allow you to reuse this validation across many functions, and also it keeps the parameter block a little bit cleaner looking. You get a little bit easier separation there. So I would think it's in some classes or some modules you have a lot of reuse of parameter names and parameter types, and you don't want to duplicate the code for validation in every function. It's like how many, because that's going to be a lot of pain if you need to update it sometimes, because then you need to go over everywhere and update it. And yeah, it's a lot simpler to have it in a class and then just reuse it, because then you can change everything at once. But yeah, this getting info for server. So this past validation, localhost is online. Let's see how we do broken. Yeah. Please check the server name or network connection. So that I have my custom message there. And yeah, this one is pretty nice. Let's see. Now we get to completers. This one is the argument completion that was added in, I think it's 7.2 or 7.3. So this doesn't work in 5.1. So it's pretty much it takes a string array and will provide hints to the user. There's no validation. It just helps the user complete the function. Let's see here what we can do. And if we go get test, but it's not going to complain if I say there's no validation. It's just hinting to users what is expected. I think we're going to go to the next one, because I think that's a little bit more interesting. So yeah, so you can do inline with the argument. So this one is argument completer. This is the old class. This one exists in 5.1 as well. It takes a script block and we return a completion result directly from it. So this here will allow us to complete hello and hi there, but you can also go with a better option of going with a full completion result object, where you can provide the full type. Because otherwise, I think this one, the above one here, defaults to a text type, and that can cause weird issues. But it does work. So if we wanted to complete the greeting, we get hello, hi there. Yeah, you see result type text. If we go there, there's a parameter value. So it can cause a little bit weird issues. I would not recommend using it like that, but it does work. I don't particularly like this way at all. I prefer using a method I'll show later. Here is we are using the register argument completer. It takes you input the command name, and you give it which parameter value you want to add completion for. You can actually provide multiple commands here. This takes a string array. So if you have multiple commands but the same parameter, you can just do everything at once. If you have different parameters for different functions, you need to do run the script block for all of them. So we have here basically completion results, and we have a function here that has a name parameter. So if we run this, we should get Alice, Bob, and Charlie as alternatives. Yeah, so that's the register argument completer. What's cool about that one, though, is not when you use it with the parameters, but when we use it with the native commands. So you can actually wire up like, so for here I have an example with ping. And I just provided like a server list. These are my servers I have. And it will provide type completion for that. So if we do like this, and then we do here. So this is going to allow me to get tab completion from here. So that could be pretty useful if you want to wire up your own tooling or whatever CLI you have. It's also quite common that tools use that to register. But yeah, it's very nice. There is actually complete examples from Winget and from .NET where they have provided them themselves. So that's actually a pretty nice user experience. I'll go over. Let's see. I think I'm gonna go over transformations. Oh wait, I have the cool one. But there. Yeah. Okay. So completers. This is the 5.1 compatible solution where you have a class and you inherit from the iArgument completer class with a single method that is called complete argument. It needs to return an IEnumerable completion results, and that's basically just an array of completion results. This is the same parameters that all the register argument completer also takes. This is like the default parameters that exists in an argument completion, like the context you have, the command name, the parameter. So you can use that to build some cool context around the completion. I will show that in the next example. So here we have a list of examples and a list, and we just loop through the results and add things that match. And at the end, we return an array of the results. And this is the way you implement it in the command in the param block. An argument completer, and then you just add in the test completer here and the name. And I also added this here, an inline one. So if we do this here, so we should be able to get, yeah, name. We're getting all the names. If we do, it's gonna filter for us, yeah, and the city. Oh. It's going to complete the cities for us. So this is a 5.1 compatible way to do it with the classes. We can actually go a step further in 7.5 and 7.4, I think, where you inherit from the argument completer, the I argument completer, and the I argument completer factory. And the only difference really is that this method is the same. It has the same functionality. The big difference between this function here is that you implement a method called create that returns an I argument completer, and you just return this class. If you do that, you can actually just use it like this. We don't have to wrap it in the argument completer. Here in this completer, I'm checking the parameter transport type, so I can do context-aware completion. So if I have context, I have 4 alternatives: car, bus, motorcycle, and those match here. So I have different cars and different motorcycles. So it's gonna be aware if I use that first. So you can give me a little bit less results, filter it for me. Let's see here. Yeah. Oh. Yeah, so I have a bicycle, and then I get the different bicycle types. And if I don't provide an option, I get everything. Transformations, I think we're heading for that now. So this is a very basic transformation. You have a class, you inherit from the argument transformation attribute. You have a single method, transform, that needs to return an object. You have 2 input, engine intrinsic, and input object. Input object is whatever is sent to the parameter. So you can do validation on it. Does this match? Okay, just return. If it matches another, it's close enough, but I don't want this year, probably, because it's not today's year. Okay, then replace it, and then just add. So we're basically ensuring that this here is supposed to be, and every string that gets added to this parameter is appended, pretty much. It's just a fun experiment. But you can see here, we have a valid pattern that says all input needs to end with PSConfEU 2025. So if I send something that doesn't have that, it should fail. But the transformation will actually run before, so it will fix it up for me and allow it to pass validation. So if we do here, I'm sending in hello, and it's just gonna add. If I send it in twice, that doesn't matter. It's just adding it to me, add once. And here we have a wrong value. I'm just gonna fix it up for me. So this is just a simple example of something to transform. You can go between types, which I'm gonna show in the next example. But the cool thing is that you are allowed to, it still passes validation because it runs before. So that's the big part. Here we have a color transformation attribute. So I want to transform everything into system drawing, the color object. So if I receive a drawing color object, I just return it. I don't want to transform it. I don't need to. If it's a string, I can check if it starts with a dash, and I can fix it up. And the same if it's a name, I can try and figure out what name it is, if it's a name color. Otherwise, if I get to this point, I want to throw. You have an option to return. If you want to try that the default constructor for the object type would try to handle it. probably it's gonna fail as well, but maybe it has some interface that you're not aware of. Yeah. So what does this mean? Here we have this object type takes a drawing color. So if we do, you shouldn't be able to pass a string to it. You probably can actually, but for the example, so if I pass a string, it's gonna transform that to the color. If I pass HTML, it's gonna transform that as well. If I pass in an object type that is the correct type, it doesn't need to transform that, but it still won't work. So this allows you the flexibility. Say if you are working with the different like datetime strings, if you have different formats, you can transform them on the fly to a single format. Stuff like that allows you to do before it hits the function, so you know that you have normalized the data before it's running. That's really powerful. And you have the option to throw or not throw. That's pretty much, I usually throw when I can't figure out what type it is. You can see the attribute get added, the color transformation attribute. Let's see here. Oh yeah, I have one here. A command info transport. So it's gonna, I want it to give me a command info object. From whatever I give it, it has to figure out how to get a command info. So if it's not a command info, it's just get command. So probably a string here. If it's an alias is also a command info, but you need to get the resolve command there, and then I can return the object. So this here, I have a decorated function, and then I have the type strongly typed, and then we do a test. So yeah, it could figure out that ls is an alias for get child item. This also works for the pipeline. So instead of having like one parameter for the name and one parameter for the command, if I want to pipe, if I want to have it strongly typed, I can transform it on the fly. So I just need one function, and then I don't need to do anything here because I know that this is what I want. And then I can reuse this transformation across multiple functions and parameters. So this is my last example, I think, before I get kicked out. Oh. So here we have put everything together. We have a color transformation, and we have a validation. Oh, no, sorry, an argument completer. So it's going to allow me to complete all the names of colors that system drawing has. And it's going to do with a little bit of highlighting as well, because as you can see here, the list item text, you're allowed to, I recently learned this, you're allowed to add VT color there. So you can make some pretty nice highlighting. So let's see here, right color. Hello. Oh. No, wait. I should just use my completer. Yeah. So we can get everything in a nice highlight color. If I do, yeah. This makes it a lot easier to see what's going on. Right there. We can actually, one thing to see is here. Let's see. We can actually follow the path. If anyone has any questions, just sure, say something.
More of an advanced question. Can you test class-based argument completers with Pester?
Can you test argument completers with Pester? Yeah, I think so. You should be able to do what I do here for the complete. So let's see here. I had it here. So my complete function, that one I use to get the list, is just calling tab expansion. And you should be able to do that because that returns the completion results. So this here, so if you do Alright, we should do color. No, what's the parameter name? Background color? She was, yeah, foreground and background. So yeah, you get all of the completion results here. So you should be able to test this. I'm pretty sure the PowerShell repo does use this as well to test. Because this is an object where that the completers return. So yeah, I think that would work. Any other questions? No, nothing. Oh, sorry.
This one, so the problem is parameters set down data time.
Yeah. Yeah. So the question is, you have a datetime parameter, and you want to transform it. Yeah. So you can have a transformation that does a try parse on the string, and if you can convert it, return that, otherwise throw. So you can normalize the datetime format on the fly. Because sometimes some API maybe has one format, another has, yeah, the joy. Data cleaning. So, but the transformation is really good there. It shouldn't be too hard to implement that. So yeah, I think that's all mine. I do have some cool stuff that I can fill out the time with. Let's see here. Has anyone worked with output type? Yeah. So that's pretty much only used in tab completion to hint to the next command. So for example here, you see, if I try and complete get child item select object, it's going to give me the property names. So that works by output type. So for example, I have an example here. I have a simple class, it's a car. I have my properties, and I have a function that has new car, and it will just output a car. The function is very simple here. So if I do this, we'll just load the class and the function. So now I can print cars. And that enables, the output type enables you to get completion. So that hints to select object and format table and a few others. You can't actually use that without reflection. It's not a public API, so you can't easily use it yourself, unfortunately. But you can get completion for other commands, the built-in ones. You can actually do something like this. If you have an inference property here, we can actually, if it is bound to the fake bound, you can access it. But that actually is pretty interesting because it only works if you have it assigned to a value before. So it's a little bit tricky. So if we try, for example, here, this doesn't work at all. So if we load up, I'll load up some processes and some files. This will not work, but this here will work. It's able to figure out after I've saved it to a variable. The same with this one here, because that allows it to be bound to the fake bound parameters, and I can pick out the property names from that by looping over the PS object properties name. So yeah, it's sort of like inference, but not the same. Yeah, I have 4 minutes. Have anyone worked with enums before? Yeah, they're pretty powerful, and you probably use them quite a bit in PowerShell from your different commandlets. There's a lot of the default commandlet, the built-in commandlets. They use enums as parameter value, and they're basically just a static list of strings that are valid if you use them in a parameter at least. So I have an enum with fruits, and I have a function that does get lunch. So I want to have some fruit here. Let's see, let's load it up. This one has a pretty cool feature that I didn't know about, is that it actually allows you to do wildcard completion. So it's going to take the one that fits, it's a string array, but yeah, not string array, an array. Let's just load it up. That doesn't really matter, but yeah. So it will take the closest match. If it's ambiguous, like it will match more than one, it's gonna fail. But it's pretty cool that you can do. You don't need to do full completion. Oh wait, no, you can do star. So yeah, and it will provide validation, and it will provide autocomplete. So, but it is static, so it's pretty hard to update without releasing a new version of your module, and so it's not something you can do at runtime. The validate set generator is much easier because you can do that on the fly. So yeah, I think that's everything I have, unless there's some more questions. Okay, thank you.